Hello, Ruby.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Absolutely brilliant.
Good. Are you ready for this? Because I'm tired now and I've got things to do. Come on. Oh, my last God. Oh, yeah.
You saying that, I looked at your website last night and I saw how many gigs you're doing next.
Right. So
right.
I'm working today, so I'm on the move, you know what I mean?
Oh, I can't believe it. You are such a busy lady.
Kinda.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement, really, shouldn't I say that?
That's all right. That's all right.
How are you today, anyway?
I'm okay. We're doing good.
Feeling good. Yeah, brilliant. Well, can I firstly say welcome to Sound Fusion Radio, and this is an absolute pleasure. I can't believe I'm talking to you. I saw you last Sunday night at the Love Supreme Jazz Festival, and brilliant, absolutely loved it. Fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. That's great stuff.
Yeah, no, as I say, it was an absolute pleasure. I loved every minute of your show, and fantastic. And where can I start?
Well, thank you very much, Doug. No, it's a great night, actually. I mean, and made even better with such fantastic weather. So we didn't have much to contend with other than just being gorgeous and loving the sun. And it's a really nice vibe down there.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought the whole festival was absolutely brilliant, and it was so nice to see so many, a real mixture of people, from very young people to a lot older people enjoying it. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we got there fairly late-ish, so I missed that wonderful Espera.
Esperanza. Yeah, Esperanza Spalding. Yeah.
I saw her mincing around in the background and really looking fabulous. I thought, who's this? I didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
Like just hanging out in the backstage area. But I missed her show. But I caught the brand new heavies. Bits and pieces. Soweto Kitsch, caught some of his stuff. But yeah, really nice vibe. A really good mixture. I really like that when it's not just a one sort of genre music that they celebrate,
Yeah, no, then that's what I try and do with my my jazz show with Sound Fusion Radio, is to mix it up a bit. And
fusion's the word, man.
Yeah, that's right, because there's so many styles of jazz, and again, so many eras of jazz, and it's just nice to incorporate everything into it.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. Show your appreciation for music in whichever way it comes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, that's it. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's the enjoyment of the music.
Yeah. You got to be open-minded. It's just what it is. It's if it's good music, I want to hear it.
Yeah, it was like there was one group there on Sunday night. It's Kitten and Hip, and I've never heard of them before, and it's that type of mixture of 40s jazz with type of hip-hop rave type mixture to it, with a lovely brass section running through it. And when I first heard it, I thought, I'm not too sure, and then as I listened, I thought, this really works. It's absolutely brilliant. It's really clever, and it was so nice to hear different things. Again, Soweto Kitsch, another one. What a saxophone player.
Yeah,
then mix it with a rap. Brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like running with a different, just what's coming out, being creative on the spot. That's really what it is, and it's great. That's the only way you can be unique and be an individual, is to just go with stuff that he's off the wall, and he does it, and it's great. It keeps it interesting. It stops it from being one-dimensional. You know what I mean? That's what us musicians are all about, really. Is always trying to. I mean, for me, as a singer, I'm always trying to try new things, I listen out for stuff. I have my ears open to what's coming up new, what's gone on before. I mean, that's the only way you develop. And for me, I like the variety. I like it's interesting, and I need that. I need to be fed with what's coming through new and what's gone on before, it keeps it moving, and you don't get tired,
That's right. Yes. Do you think that at the moment there seems to be a bit of a revival in top of jazz? People seem to be getting more interested in the music, turning away from
I
that.
I don't know about that. I mean, I've been in the industry for so long, and jazz been revived a million times. It's been on a revival forever, in the nicest possible way, because it's such a unique genre that for years it was only it was so sort of only the aficionados of jazz could appreciate jazz. So everybody else felt kind of shut out from it. And then came sort of a little bit of a revolution where you had people like Soweto and people like various jazz, Wynton Marsalis. They moved it into, they were using tracks. I mean, the great producers, like Quincy Jones, they were using stuff, putting stuff in there that were jazz related, but yet was current and reinvented. And so that in a way kind of broke down the barriers, and suddenly people didn't feel like it was an elitist kind of sound anymore, and then the young embraced it with their colourful clothes and their afro hairdos and their pointy shoes, and then they were hitting some high notes on the saxophone, and suddenly it's jazz fusion, and it's great, and it's just one of those things that people have to come to it from another angle,
Yeah, because you say it was the jazz fusion, obviously, of the 70s that got me into it, and people like Grover Washington, Ramsey Lewis, Eddie Henderson, people like that, and I was really got into the sort of jazz fusion, jazz funk, as we used to call it, and as I say, and then gone back and listened to the jazz standards, and just fell in love with it all, and it's
absolutely,
it's so, I think it's so refreshing at the moment, because with this so-called plastic pop that's around, it's so nice to hear live musicians who have paid their dues.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah, but you can't knock plastic pop, because if it's successful, then it's successful. You know what I mean? While it's keeping the wheels of in the industry turning, which plastic pop is, because if it wasn't, then we'd all be going off somewhere else. So it's just music has always done that. It's just what society is. We delve into it. We need a little bit of nonsense to sort of not concentrate too hard. Well, it's true. Want to leap up and dance and forget your troubles and not get. It's not a degree course. You know what I mean? You just want to have a bit of fun. And then those who are deep into their musicality, then they can. So there's room for everything, really. I suppose what the truth is, it sometimes, on a popular sense, it seems a little bit imbalanced. That's really where the problem lies.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Definitely.
Slightly. It's not slightly imbalanced. It's terrible imbalance on what gets played and what you have to go and stand in the field to hear. Or some dingy dark room somewhere but that's life. It's always been the same. That's how new music gets discovered. It's in the most inappropriate places where you least expect it.
Yeah, that's true.
Glastonbury or wherever else. And it's great. And eventually those people rise to the top and come through. They might not get to the very top, but they make a living and they go out and they enjoy it, and people enjoy their music. And you can't sometimes. You can't sweat about it or fret about it, because if it's meant to be, it will. But more importantly, you've got to work at it, And so, the new up and coming jazz guys or whatever, they just got to keep going, really. And I mean, I can say that because that's what I did. I just kept going in my kind of genre of music, whatever that is, which was a really eclectic mix of soul, blues, jazz, R&B, whatever. I just, I'm a vocalist, and that's what I do. I sing things that move me, things that inspire me, things that make me feel good, things that I think I can do, and you know what I mean, or if I can't do, I'll try it, because but you just got to keep at it, so
Speak to you about your sort of background, because you were born in the iconic place Montego Bay, eh?
Well, no, I grew up in Montego Bay.
Right.
In a little parish called Clarendon.
Yeah.
Up in the hills. Where all the kings and the princesses of Africa were first delivered.
All right.
Hey, a bit of history for you. Go look it up.
I will do.
I was told. Right. Anyway, a little place called Clarendon, and And then, age of 3, I went to Montego Bay to live with my father. And because my mother moved to the UK, and so at 3 I went to live with my dad.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah, and so then.
But the island, just the island. No matter which part of the island, just the island. It's just the island. It's just the end. Yeah. Great. Although I think we're getting a taste of island weather right now. I'm feeling really groovy.
Oh, I know. Isn't it nice to have a bit of sunshine at long last?
It's pretty groovy at the moment.
It's been a long winter for some reason.
It has been, and I think we feel. I mean, this is what you say. I feel blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it was a long time coming, but you kind of forget. Suddenly, you can't remember all the snow and the carrying on because this is it's so hot.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good.
And typically,
it clouded over a few days ago. I prefer it when it's a bit cloudy. I went, what?
Typical of us.
You cannot please man. Forget it. Yeah, when it's fearing heat, I can't cope with it. I like it a bit cloudy. But,
yeah, we have to have something to moan about, don't we?
Indeed. Well, they're not moaning, but you know what I mean. People want it just right. I like it just right. Well, yeah. it's there you go. There you go.
So you were brought up in Birmingham, I see, and. Obviously, in the 80s and that, you come to the fore with the likes of people like UB40 and Culture Club. Was the UB40 connection, obviously, through being in Birmingham?
Yes, more or less. I mean, my drummer was their producer. Bob Lamb was he was working. He bought their first album, the Signing Off album. He recorded it with them. And while I was, building a career in Birmingham, he was one of my drummers, and he was a super. It's really interesting because he laid down the template for me of what drummers should be.
Right.
What a true drummer, what a real drummer should be, and a drummer should not be intrusive. A drummer should just be the heartbeat. It's laid back, it's groovy, it's holding it down, and Bob had all that things going. It was fantastic. It really was amazing. Well, there you go. So So I'll give every other drummer I deal with a hard time now. Yeah, just cool it, and just hold on the groove and stay there. But not many people can because everybody wants to be seen and heard. A bit of a battle, but that's life. But yes, the UB connection was. I mean, they were based in Moseley, and I was gigging in and around Moseley, Birmingham at the time, and the associations that, and we were all very young, and we were just mixing and matching it, and everyone was having such a great time because it was a great time for music in Birmingham, and in the early 80s, it was such a fantastic, vibrant. Everyone was up for it. Everyone was enjoying music. The whole community. Black, white, Asian is a real good fusion of people just having a right nice time, The sound systems are out there. Oh, goodness me. The reggae music was ramming it. It was great. Really great time. Really, really great time. And nobody was shy of mixing it up and working with people. Now things are a little bit different. Unless you're with a heavyweight record company and you're on the same label, then you get people venture into collaboration, but now everyone's so nervous about their own thing that they put all their energy into their own work. There's not many collaborations going on because just the way it is. You don't find that in America. In America, they're hand in glove with each other because they carry each other through. But I learned that very early on in the early years that the Americans didn't seem to have a problem with collaborating with each other.
Yes.
No matter what. But for some of the British artists, because of the label, they're also very precious about who was signed to who and blah, but oh my lord. Unless you're on that label, people get very funny about that. It's very odd. Not unless the artists themselves are friends. Through whatever reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you go and sing on each other's thing regardless. Because, I sang on Steve Winwood track, but Steve was a grown man and he's been well established and he played on my track, so we couldn't care less who's the label we were signed to. We just did it. And Drew was saying, you know what I mean? So, but when you're talking about the young ones being controlled, then it's really difficult. But yeah, back in the 80s, we just jammed it, man. I had a great time.
Do Did you think that was because there was so many independent record labels back then? So
well, yeah, and everybody was still learning as well. You see, that's what I'm saying. We're all learning, and we're all young, and the labels were new, the artists were new, the music was great. It was kicking it up. You know, here we are in Birmingham. The music was making waves, you know, worldwide for the UBs, and so it just, you know, it opened the floodgates to a lot of stuff, and. But more importantly, we were young and having such a great time, and the UBs were great, man. It was, like I said, they were good days.
Yeah, that's my era. That is to the late 70s, early 80s.
Man.
It's great times. I used to love going out clubbing back then. It was just amazing.
We felt safe. We were going clubbing because that's where we were going.
Yeah.
There was nothing else involved except some serious music and some sharp outfits.
Yeah.
You know, some sharp two-tone numbers.
Oh, yeah, the old
two-tone boys. Some serious Afro hairdos. That was great. Loved it.
Yeah, no, it was great times. As I say, I used to visit the import shops all the time and picking up bits and pieces. It was just absolutely amazing.
Oh, great. I mean, you know, my brother was still in Jamaica at the time, and I had a brother here that was really into dub reggae, you know, and he used to send me the latest cut, you know, so that we had, you know, it was fantastic, you know, the U-Roy and the I-Roys and the big U's and whoever else, we just said, it's fantastic. Oh, man, great days. Yeah. Great days.
Yeah, I used to love it when the old postman used to turn up, and I used to peel back the old envelope and that and see what I've got in there and put it on the old deck, and I think, brilliant, amazing stuff.
You know, it's I don't know how people feel about music now. If they get the I guess the kids do. You know, they do with their, you know, the Nicki Minaj. I don't know what that's all about, but you know, that sort of stuff. And they all scream when they're coming out. They're all there to do. So maybe they have the same excitement. You know what I mean? I guess it is in a different way, whereby we were, you know, the music was what's so. You know what I mean? We were so keen on the next track that was coming out. You know, when the Jackson 5 were on tour, when the next album was coming through, we we couldn't wait. It was fantastic. So I guess in a way it's the same, but you know, this is now.
I think the only thing with the MP3 type of format is the fact that with an LP or a CD, you could flip the cover over and you could look and see who performed on there, and you're like, he's on there, he's on there. You know, which obviously you don't get with an MP3 now. So
no, I know you don't know who's playing what, and it's like they're anonymous. It don't really matter, you know.
No, which I think that's a shame because.
But you know what? The truth is, there's probably nobody playing it anyway.
Yeah.
The truth be known, there's nobody playing it. Oh, what? You can download anything, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's. I think the whole thing is like. At the same time, that's imploded on encroach on the musicians in a sense, because you know, why get a drummer when you can get garage, whatever you're going to call it, and kick up your drum kit, and I mean, you're on. You can make your own record from the laptop, you know.
Yeah,
I just downloaded some programs. The end.
Yeah, that's it. I know.
But I'm about to go to the studio with my band at the moment, and I know how much it's going to cost. And I'm going, well, I wonder how that thing worked on that laptop. And it's far cheaper. No hassles. You just do it in your home. I mean, there you go. But I'm from the old school, and I like the fact, because I play live with a band, I want to, you know, I still want to make music live with a live unit. You know,
yeah.
Well, it's hard, but we've been squeezed.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to one of the performers at the Jazz Festival, a guy called Matthew Lee. I spoke to his manager, who's got his own recording studio, and he actually records with using analog still, and because he was saying it gives it that softer, warmer tone.
Yeah, well, I my gospel album, Travelling On, I did with Bob, you know, about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this very same studio there in Highbury Road, recorded on analog, you know, and it was, you know, the reel to reel, and I've still got the reel to reels here.
Yeah.
Because I had to buy them. Well, you know, never mind. But it was great, you know what I mean? But you have your problems with it, but it's just the sound so different. You just don't, you know.
Yeah,
what
it has. It's got a warmth and a quality about it.
Yeah, and you got and you feel, you're recording with somebody. You don't feel like there's a relationship between you and the studio and even that machine. You know what I mean? That machine capturing that thing is like magical. It's magical. You can see it going around, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And all the knobs, and just all the knobs are great, and the producer, and it's like you put a machine, a computer, you go big, and you don't see nothing.
No, that's right.
There's nothing to see.
Yeah.
Except some graphics going up. Nothing. And that's the studios now. So yeah, I don't know. That's life. But then hey, you gotta. Right. Like I say, I can't be hypocritical. I gotta move with the times. Try to move with the times because I want to move with the times because I like it. Because I want to know what's happening in music because I'm interested in music. So there you go.
Yeah, well, say with 14 LPs to your name, you're certainly there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them was recording in digital studios, but some analogs as well. But when I started recording my own albums, because I started my own label, some of it was on computer, and the gospel one I did, in an analog studio.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, it's not every analog studio is operator. They know what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I only did it with Bob because it was Bob's studio. He created it. He knew it inside out. It just fell apart. He knew what to do. And believe me, it used to fall apart. But that was the beauty of it falling apart.
Yeah.
So, where's that channel? It's gone. Channel 5. You're in 12. What? Oh.
Panic.
Hilarious. Yeah. What happened to the sax? I just paid £120 for the saxophone to play. It's gone. What do you mean it's gone? I don't know where it is. Stuff like that happens. Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Stuff like that happens, and and that's when you go. I tell you what, let's just put it on the computer. Let's just go digital. So yeah, it has its advantages and its disadvantages.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. What made you go back in 2009 and actually record a gospel LP?
Because A, my faith. B, I'd never done a gospel album, and I always loved gospel music, and I just thought, now that's one genre I never touched on, and for my love of Mahalia Jackson and Sister Rose at the Top and Sam Cooke and all the great, the Golden Gate Quartets and and the Dixie Hummingbirds and I could reel them off, and I'm loving all that music. I'm going, well, why don't I? Yeah, and so I did it. Yeah, and I loved it. It was such freedom, and like I said, I did it on a real analog studio, and it was just so wonderful.
Oh.
Really, it was there. It was just there, and I wanted to record in the same vein as they did back in say 1929. You know what I mean? Just one take, me, the band, and laying it down, harmonies, one take. Yeah, and it was great. It was great. It was really great. Great time.
Yeah, I see. Again, this is obviously going back in time. Obviously, when you first started, and that is your first your first single release, and that was the great Staple Singers' "Come Go With Me." Now, what a track to start your career off with.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing was, the label I was signed to, they were, I have to say, their forward thinking was Clive Calder, the owner. He when he signed me eventually, that was kind of, I knew I touched on a bit of gospel and the R&B style, the blues thing, and that was the first song we went with, and Billy Ocean recorded that, produced that track, and Jonathan Butler's on there,
Yeah.
And it was a really nice way to introduce, because Jonathan was South African, he'd only just come into the country, and he was also signed to the label. So when we did it as a kind of a duet, it was a way to introduce Jonathan into the UK.
Yeah.
And it worked, and it was great, and he played marvelous on there, and like I said, Billy Ocean produced it, because once again we were in the same stable with one label, one record, on the same label. The studios were owned by them, etc., etc. The artists, so that's why the collaboration was so easy to do. And it was, but the Women Hold Part of the Sky album was my first album. Not my first recording. I'd recorded previous to that, but my first album. And it was great. It was a really good time, great experience. I let the experts deal with stuff, and as time went on, you gain more knowledge, a little bit more confidence, and then your input, you start to input on the next couple of projects. So yeah, but the Staple Singers, I mean, Mom Papa Staples was my favorite. I mean, this was great, great.
Brilliant. Yeah, because was it Marvin Staples' birthday the other day, if I remember rightly?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I saw it on Facebook. Somebody posted it. Yeah. Okay. I think.
Yeah, I had the privilege of meeting Mavis Staples as well. Lovely lady, lovely. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
When you're in the company of these wonderful people, it gives you the confidence to keep going. It really does. Yeah. Yeah, you take that. I take from that.
Yeah. No, I bet
I met Etta James years ago, and it was the same kind of thing. I walked out going, right, come on, because these were people I mean, I'm now the age that they were, but I was going, yeah, you can do this. Yeah. And it's only by seeing them, so, yeah.
So how did Etta James feel about your version of Rather Go Blind?
Well, to be honest with you, I'd only just started, when I met her, I wasn't signed to anybody at the time, so it was early days when I was singing that, so she wouldn't have heard it. She might have heard it later on, but I hadn't met it later after that. But yeah,
because that was the first single of yours I ever bought.
Oh man, really?
No, brilliant.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I still do it in the set. It's just one of those songs you just can't leave out.
Well, no, it's lovely. It's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful tune.
Great song.
Yeah. Because I see you've had was it about 8 singles in the British charts then from, was it 1985 to 1995?
Probably.
Yeah.
Who's counting? I never look back, sir. Only for reference points.
Yeah.
If it's worth it.
Yeah.
No, I guess so. I've never looked, actually, never counted it.
Right.
No, never checked, no.
Yeah, no, as I say, it was just something I can't think where I read that from, but I saw that 8 chart singles as in 10 years. That's a good success rate.
Well, it's kind of good success rate. I was never really the sort of prolific album singles chart chasing artist, really, because I never had that sort of heavyweight record company support.
Yeah.
I was signed to a small label, Jive, at the time, and in comparison to, being signed to CBS or Polydor or, you know what I mean, that was just a small label. Although now, as time went on, it grew because it got bought out and whatever, But, so my deal was small and we just rocked it with 4 albums and that was about it. And then the rest, then the battle began, because when that deal ended with that label, then I had to fight to stay in my career as such, and that meaning signing with other labels and things not working out, and moving in and out of different things, and eventually 2005 I set up my own label. So it's been a journey, but it's been an interesting one.
Yeah, as I say, well, what an achievement to be one of the first Brits to ever get to number 1 in the USA in the R&B charts. Quite something.
It really was. That was Jive. I mean, I had to work for that. It took me 3 weeks. We flew over there in 3 weeks, doing PR and stuff, and then eventually went to number 1. But my word, did I work? I was on every early flight. I was every radio station. You really had to, you know what I mean? And it broke in Gary, Indiana. That's where the track broke. That's where they got into it. The song "Gonna Be All Right." It was really, really quite an eye opener.
Yeah.
But I came back and I was on my knees, literally tired, worn out from that trip, And then the following week it went to number 1 in the R&B charts. And then I realized what it took, what the business really meant. It was a lesson in longevity. You have to work for it. And so, I rest my case.
Yeah, to break into the USA is to break into the USA. That's absolutely amazing.
91.
Amazing. Yeah.
I mean, we tried to repeat it, but then the deal, things went kind of a bit squiff and whatever. But the fact is, it happened, and it's been documented, and that's good enough for me, really.
Oh, no, but
Yeah, you just go, if that's it, and it was great.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not many people can say that, so with that I'm thankful, and I go, yeah, right, that's all right. yeah, she did exist, yes, she did, yes, that's right. Because you could so easily be in it and disappear, you know what I mean?
Well, that's it. As I say, so many people do, don't they? They sort of come up and you hear of them and then boom, gone, but...
and you have to be honest with you, in this life, you need to come and you need to leave your mark, and in whatever you do, that's what life is all about. You work to do something, to leave a mark, I guess, in a way. You have to make, you come to make a difference, you come to do something, that's what it's all about. So, in a way, I was very fortunate that record did well, and so, yeah. So now, when I ever sing again or whatever I do, you'd not easily dismiss. People go, oh yeah, if it's worth that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because this business is so sort of, short-lived.
Yeah, well, it's a very fickle business, isn't it?
Yeah, short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to say, you've again over the years, you've done so many collaborations with many other artists.
Yes, I have. I've been very fortunate to have. It's been a long career, really, of 30 years. But bound to walk into to meet people, which I've been fortunate to do, and do collaborations, or work on their albums, and all that is just wonderful experience, and I'm first and foremost a musician and a working musician, and I started out as a solo artist, and that was tough going, so I used to mix it up. I'll be doing my own personal gigs, and then I'll go and sing with somebody else, and then I'll go off and do sessions, and I was doing session work as well as playing live with my own band, and so I was never precious about being a solo artist and being, I am, don't you know who I am? I was never precious about that at all.
Nah.
My whole thing was to work. I enjoyed my gigs with my own band. I enjoyed doing session work for other people, and the other people being people like Mick Jagger and Brian Ferry. I enjoyed the collaborations with with Steve Winwood. And I'm still doing it even now, and it served me well. It's been great. It's kept my work varied and interesting, and like I say, it's I'm not precious about me being the solo act. I'm precious about music and mixing it up and sharing it. That's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, it's keeping it fresh, isn't it? And
and keeping it interesting, and sitting there, being so self-absorbed is a bit nonsense, I think. Yeah, well, I like mixing it up. I really do.
Yeah, saying about mixing it up and everything. I see you've also done a little bit of acting as well.
There you go. That's me. The ubiquitous Miss Turner. Where is she today? I like it. The enigma. No, but because when I started in theatre all those years ago, and then from theatre came the music,
Yeah.
Because it was through theatre, people you do things, and then you discover you got a singing voice. And, oh wow, this is great. And then before you developing a little band, put a little band together, and my band consisted of 2 guitarists. And it was great, and that's all we did. Went out and did little songs, little songs, cover versions and songs that the guys are writing, and it was great. And from there, you kind of test the waters and see what was happening, and I tested the water, and the feeling was nothing that I could put my hand on, but it was quite magical, and because of that magic, I pursued that career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, because I see one of the things you were in, Simply Heavenly, which was critically acclaimed at the time.
Yeah, the theatre, the Whitehall Theatre. Yes, it was quite something. Trafalgar Studios, that's the one. Trafalgar Studios. It was moved from the Young Vic and transferred from the Young Vic, and it did incredibly well. It was the last theatre piece I did, actually, because it the music music, the running, trying to run the two together became very problematic in the sense that, you know, theatre demands your every, you know, your full attention. You cannot be in and out. You know what I mean? You're there for 3 months. You're there for 6 months. You're there for a year. And I was finding it hard trying to do the two. I'd be coming out of theatre and going straight onto the road on tour, and then it would just do me in. Or I'd be coming off tour and going straight into theatre, and it was like physically too much. So I had to make a decision, a conscious decision, to say, right, I'm going to concentrate on making an album and pursuing the music because I wanted to do that. And unless, you know, something magical was written or was offered in theatre, you know, I would consider it. But the thing with theatre was, you know, at the time I was doing it, Simply Heavenly was going to be in there for how many weeks, and then, you know, before we knew it, it got closed. For, you know, it runs its course, things run its course.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a little bit sort of, you know, it's, you know, every actress will tell you, you know, nothing guaranteed. You know, as good as your next job, and when this one finishes, you're trying to get the next one, you know, and it really is kind of that sort of, you know, uncertainty of it, whereby with the music, you know, being on the road and stuff, I can control that.
Yeah,
the best I can. Yeah, I'm more in control of that than I am going into a production that is going to run. You signed up for X, Y, Z, and before you know it's closed, and there's nothing you can do about it. So if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But going back now, if I remember, you know, when that show closed, you know, the people that would go, right, we're going to run for a year, with la 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 la, you know, they took out mortgages, blah blah blah, and then it closed. You know, it was so risky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the love, that's what they do. But, you know, a lucky old me, because that's the only thing I can say, I had two careers running at the same time, because I never gave up the music.
No.
So I went straight back into the music, and I thought, you know what, because I think I can control this better, I'm going to stick with this and make this work. I'm going to put everything, because you need to put everything into something to make it work, you know? So that's what I did. But then Love actually came along, but that was easy to do because it's only you get a film schedule for that amount of time, and that's it. You know, it doesn't quite encroach. It doesn't encroach too much on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, I remember sitting there watching Love Actually, and because you were the mother of the little girl, and you came on, and I was like, that's Ruby. I'm sure it's Ruby too. And it wasn't until the credits come up, and yeah.
Wow, I know.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
I know. Yeah, it's been a varied career, interesting, fun. You know what I mean? I can't complain.
No.
But like I say, you know, you have to work for these things. They don't sort of, you know, they're not given to you like that. You have to earn it. You know.
So if another sort of little film role came up, would you consider?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd love that. I'd really love that. That's all right. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. I'm ready for that now. I'm ready for another film role. Definitely ready for another film role.
So, where did your association with Jules came in? Where did you first meet Jules and obviously started singing along with the band?
Well, about 1993, I think, if I remember rightly, when he was, you know, the big band was going on the road, and, you know, because his success came from more or less, you know, Don't Forget Your Toothbrush, or something kind of, that program. Do you remember that? With, yeah, the launch, he was, they were the band, weren't they?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and from that kind of, you know, Jules kind of, you know, I mean, he was working anyway, doing stuff anyway, but then he wanted to go on the road with a big band and have guest vocalists, and then I was introduced, and that's how it came about, really.
All right.
Yeah.
So originally you were just a guest vocalist. When did you actually well, basically you're a permanent member of the band, aren't you now? you're writing songs with him and everything.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, life develops like that, and it's good, and it was good. Yeah, about 8 years ago. That it was put in. Funny enough, it was while I was doing Simply Heavenly.
Right.
I was asked to be a guest, you know, on the show, and then suddenly I was asked to do it I was given 6 shows, 6 dates to do, and then it escalated to 8 every year, and then I was asked one year to do the year.
Yeah.
And then so it bit by bit it became it became a permanent fixture of it, in a way. Because I really enjoy it, and it's really good, and me and myself and Jules get on really great, and I love, and there's unlike like my job, and the pressure isn't on me, so much on me. The gig is Jules' gig, and that's where it lies. And so, in a way, it's kind of nice to just be there and enjoy the music, but you're not solely responsible for it anymore. You know what I mean? Whereby with my band, I'm responsible. Totally responsible, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the brilliance of Jules' show, isn't it? Is the fact that the different musicians from all around the world that he brings in, and it just, like you say, mixes it up, and it's just fantastic.
It's fabulous.
It is. It's amazing, because I think you can feed off other people and get other influences of music, can't you, when you're in that sort of situation?
Well, yeah, you're learning so much, and what's so wonderful about Jules, a bit like myself, he's a fan of music. He loves music, and he's been known to be good, walking down the street and there's a busker or something, and I don't know, it's happened before. So, who's that? He met him on the street busking on the gig.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Wonderful, yeah. That's Jules. That's just Jules. It's great.
Yeah,
it's really, really great. He's so enthusiastic. You could bottle it. If you could bottle that enthusiasm, man, it would be wonderful.
Oh no, it comes across on stage all the time, doesn't it? It really does come. That enthusiasm is just amazing.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, you just go. Oh, he's relentless with the energy and ideas and go.
Yeah.
And thank God for that, because let's face it, you have days where you go, you know what I mean? You really dip and think, I've had enough. Not Julian, man. He's on it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you a favour, actually. It's not actually for me. It's for a lady I interviewed a couple of months back now. She's a New York jazz singer. Her name's Ellie Fordyce, and she has had, I think it's 2 Grammy pre-nominated albums, but she is absolutely got she's 76 years old. She is absolutely fantastic. She's got a lovely, lovely voice, and I'd love to see her on Jules' show. So could you have a word with Jules?
Mark Cooper, man.
Right.
That's the man.
Yeah.
Mark Cooper's the producer.
Right.
And Mark goes. He scouts. So that he goes. He finds the gig, the artist. That's he. Yeah.
Because as I say, she is such a lovely, lovely lady.
It's the kind of thing that would work.
Yeah. I'd say I'd love to. She's one of those people that I could see her at Ronnie Scott's. She's that type of feel to it. And I'll say about Ronnie Scott's because every time I try and book Ronnie Scott's to go and see you, it's always sold out, and I'm like, no.
You need it quicker, sir. Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm playing it next year. I haven't heard anything, but yeah. No, it's kind of really, really nice. It's quite flattering that, because I remember, and it still happens now, you try and break new ground and go to new places, and promoters go, well, has she got anything on the radio? You're still struggling.
Yeah.
To convince.
So they only really want to know you if you've got an LP coming out or something.
Well,
like
no, exactly. So you're talking about or what she got going on, or it's not current enough, or they're doing bootleg Beatles, or you know what I mean. It's like suddenly you find yourself up against the bootleg world.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember doing a gig. It made me howl with laughter. I don't know how I should have reacted. So I thought it was hilarious. I did a gig somewhere down in Poole. There's a gig called Mr. Kipps. Really nice, old rock and roll kind of, heavy metal looking building venue. Proper stage, long room, to the triangular type room. rectangular kind of room and great vibe, you know what I mean? And sold out the night, and apparently someone said, am I a tribute act? Am I a tribute act? I went, right, that's fantastic. I'm a tribute to myself.
Oh dear.
You know, and you go, whoa, whoa. And so what that said was that a lot of artists who were coming through the same time as I was are no longer doing stuff because it's so hard to convince promoters to do anything. And then what was happening, the promoters were putting on bootleg this, bootleg that, you know what I mean? They were using the names of the acts, you know what I mean? For every act that was out there in the 70s and 80s, there was a version of.
Yeah. Well, I've got that. I live in Eastbourne, and we've got a bandstand down here, and every Friday night there's a tribute act there.
Yeah.
And you think it's such a shame that they're not bringing fresh new acts in.
It started with Bjorn again, which I had the misfortune, and I'll say it, to travel to do a gig with in Russia, somewhere in Estonia, Eastern Europe. And although it was funny at the time, because when it started, it was really funny at the time. They're pretending to be ABBA. It's become the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And because, and then people, let's not poo-poo this business. People get the idea. Well, if that can work, that could work.
Yeah.
This could work, and before you know it, they're throwing it. It's all over. Everybody, there's David Bowie, Thin Lizzy, there's a version of it.
No, I want to see the original acts. I don't want to see somebody else pretending to be it. You can't see the original
acts now because they're not out there performing anymore.
I know, it's such a shame.
So that's why it works, you see.
Yeah.
So you can't knock success. I mean, you can't. Somebody gets the idea. It's an ingenious idea, but what a gig,
Yeah. But I suppose it's cheap musicians, isn't it? I suppose in a way, isn't it?
It does, but at the same time, you get an act now, like a new band coming through, trying to do work, trying to get exposed, trying to get on the circuit. They can't get in there because nobody knows who they are.
That's true. Yeah.
And they won't sell tickets because nobody knows who they are. But the bootleg act will. Yeah. Because people know the songs. So. Rock and a hard place.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So anyway, it's forever throwing up challenges, this industry. It's constantly challenging you, But when the word came back to say that it's your tribute act.
Yeah.
Ruby Turner's your tribute act. It made me howling.
I'll have to look out. I'll have to look out for the Ruby Turner tribute act then.
Yeah.
I'll go along and see
where is it? Quick, tell me where can I find her?
I think that's great.
Excellent.
So where are you playing tonight?
Kew Gardens.
Yes, I saw that on there.
I think I've talked enough, so I'm going to go.
Yeah, I think you better. I think you go better put your feet up and have a relax.
I need to get tired of the house, pack my bag and go. And drive to London.
Yeah.
All right, Don.
Thank you very much, Ruby. It's been an absolute privilege. And
cheers, mate.
Amazing. And I can't wait to come and see you again. And next time you're playing Ronnie Scott's, I want to be there.
Okay. Well, get in early.
Yeah, I'll have to. I know. I keep looking on the website all the time and everything, to see who's on, because it's a lovely venue. But anyway, it's been an absolute privilege, and I must admit, as I say, when Anna said to me that you can have an interview with Ruby Turner, I was like, no, you're joking. Brilliant.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I saw the request. Sometimes I do look at the website. Sometimes I do read stuff. Sometimes I do respond if it's possible. So hey.
No, thank you.
Alrighty.
It's been absolutely beautiful. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you then. Take care. Bye.
Bye, love. Bye.
Bye.